seemed to always have been a general consensus that once the partnership with Stan Lee and Jack Kirby broke apart, Stan Lee never wrote anything relevant again. I don't completely agree with that. An example is the Silver Surfer, which he used as, it seems at times, as his muse. I've heard that his collaboration with Moebius was a classic, so I decided to check it out. For years, Stan would write and use the Silver Surfer as his mouthpiece, addressing topics about the human condition. This started with the Surfer's first appearance in Fantastic Four number 48, The Coming of Galactus. There has been some controversy over exactly who created him. Was it Jack or was it Stan? But it seems that Jack came up with the image of the Silver Surfer while Stan came up with the personality. Based on the foreword on the trade that I read on Parable, the Silver Surfer story, it seems the story came together in 1988 at the Anaheim Book Fair where he met Moebius. And they chatted, and a friend said, "Hey, why don't you guys do something together?" They agreed, but they didn't know what to do. Moebius stated that he really loved the Silver Surfer, and it seems that's when a spark of an idea was made. The story of Parable on the surface, anyway, looks like it's one that's been done before and repeatedly. Examples would be shows such as The Twilight Zone. What would happen if we had first contact with an alien life form? What would humanity do? How would they behave? How would they receive this? Also, the outsider, the alien, how would they perceive us? Would they want to destroy us? To rule us? Or just wonder if we should even exist if we always put our faith into others and never ourselves? The story begins when a flash of light darts across the sky. Everyone in the world sees it, and shortly afterward, Galactus emerges from his massive ship, saying he will bring us to a new era. From that point on, we see how humanity behaves. We see how they start to devolve, start rioting, new religions based around Galactus being a savior start to pop up, and burning violence. The Silver Surfer finally arrives, revealing himself to the world for the first time, and after he talks to Galactus, they battle for a bit, and in the end, humanity starts to look towards the Silver Surfer as its savior instead of Galactus. Okay, that was a brief summary, so let's take a look at some other aspects of the story, such as the writing. This was written in the 1980s, and as far as I can tell, Stan Lee didn't really write anything major from when he stopped writing monthly in the 70s other than the Spider-Man comic strip. So the writing did seem a bit stiff and at other times ham-fisted and obvious. There are times when after he's got to the point of the story, he keeps hammering home for the rest of the story. Parable is only 49 pages long, and some of the writing gets redundant after a while. Another issue I have with the writing is the story positions the Silver Surfer as a former herald, and yet no one on Earth seems to know who he is, yet the Surfer seems to have been trapped on Earth for years. Which also brings me to how the Silver Surfer and Galactus are interacting with each other in the story. They talk about the deal they made years ago about not touching Earth. Wouldn't anyone on Earth have seen that, even with just satellites? It also feels that this is a major continuity error. During this time, I believe that Stan was only at Marvel as an ambassador, but still he should have known his history before writing this. Also, it seems this takes place in a world where there are no superheroes. So now let's focus on the art. I usually love Moebius's art. It has a nice, clean, imaginative, surreal yet expressive look to it. This story, however, doesn't have that. It's missing the detail he normally has. In some scenes, the objects and people are so simplistic that they just run together. It makes me think that while he was doing this, he was rushed because it has that rushed look to it. There are times, however, when we do see what he is capable of doing, but that's really sporadic. it seems parceled out over the story. I don't know what happened to his art, but if you check online or if you check my YouTube channel, Dr. Harris, and you can really see what he's capable of doing and why he's not just an artist, but he's an art master. Pro, con, positive, negative. Pro, as far as the writing goes, the story is really easy to follow. Stan gets the personality and dialogue of Galactus and Silver Surfer just right. Con, the writing of the other characters are one note and no one really stands out from one another. Nearly everyone is of the same mind, but then again, maybe that's the point. Maybe the point of the story is to show that everyone is the same, good, bad. However, the story's ending is a bit distressing. It basically says that we can only believe in others or something else because we have no faith in ourselves. I guess the real question is, did I enjoy this? And it's tough to say, but I will have to say no. Despite that, I will say that you should read this if for no other reason than to be exposed to the creative giants that helped create the Marvel Universe and also create the strip, the Lieutenant Blueberry, and see what they did afterwards. Also, you get to get a sneak peek of more of the philosophical mind of Stan Lee. You can tell that this subject matter meant a lot to him. I just don't think it was executed that well. And on a final note, I bought 2 versions of Parable. One had only the initial story, and the other had another Silver Surfer story with art done by Keith Pollard, but also written still by Stan Lee. It was done in the regular Marvel 616 universe, it seems. I'll have to cover that another time since I'm running out of time on this particular podcast. So until next time, please comment, subscribe to Dr. Harris and the Graphic Description YouTube channels. You can check my work at www.drharris.net, and you can also see my work on Tumblr at Mr. Grump1 and on DeviantArt at also Mr. Grump. And goodbye.